Good evening and welcome to a very special edition of the Tonight programme. This is the evening that we present our media awards to those journalists who are deemed to have made a major contribution during the year. This time around, however, we've decided that rather than have a panel of judges drawn from media, politics or academia, we instead handed the process over to the journalists of the future. So the journalism students at DCU accepted our challenge and carefully went through all the categories and selected the winners. And some of those students are here with us now. We have Catherine Devine, who is Editor-in-Chief of the College View, Jordan Kavanagh from DCU TV, Kevin Kelly, Station Manager of DCU FM, and Caoimhin Ní Cheathail, also of DCU FM. The first award we're looking at is the best use of Twitter by a journalist. Kevin, what kind of criteria did you use for this award?
I think one thing with Twitter now is the speed of it, how easy it is to share information straight away. So the idea of sharing breaking news as it happens, and also providing context around news, you know, being somewhere, being able to tweet from a place.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, yeah, it really is breaking news. And also sharing context around that news. So other things that might be missed, that may not make the actual story, can all go on Twitter.
One thing that also added into the Twitter we found was how the journalist engages with their audience and with their fans. It personifies them even more.
Journalists with their fans.
It's all about personality.
Okay, and who did we pick?
The winner was Gavin Riley from Today FM.
I'm a little bit surprised to have won the award for best use of Twitter, but I am nonetheless delighted, and I really want to thank the students in DCU for thinking of me. A little bit surprised to be thought of, but I suppose it is an acknowledgement that Twitter is now a way that a lot of people get their news. It's a different way of doing news. It's something that I think all journalists are still only trying to get to grips with, but even still, when Twitter is still so relatively young, I'm delighted to be thought of.
Okay, our next award is for the best website or app. Caoimhin, what kind of criteria did you use here?
Well, again, we're looking at the different ways in which they're using this platform. Of course, app is kind of the new revolution, so we would use a lot of apps. We're always on our phones, and apps are really important to us to get that information quickly and to get it effectively, and that they're putting across this news in a quick and in an effective way. So we were looking at apps such as RTE News Now, Breaking News, and in the Journal, which we finally decided on, and in the way that they adapt their news from their website to the app, because that's very important. It has to be mobile friendly and user friendly as well.
Okay, and as you said, I think you let the cat out of the bag there in telling us who actually won.
Yeah.
The winner was?
Thejournal.ie.
Thejournal.ie.
We're delighted to receive Website of the Year from the Tonight with Vincent Brown show. Since we set up, we've been very focused on having an app that really works for people, and so everything we do is mobile first. It's about people who are reading news on the go, commuters, people in bed, anywhere where you can consume news on the go.
Okay, from the screen to the presses, Newspaper of the Year is the next award. Catherine, I suppose there's the usual suspects in that regard.
Yeah, so when we were judging the newspaper, we looked at a couple of things. So we were looking at both the layout and the content. So in terms of layout, it's very important that it's concise. Some of the newspapers and tabloids, they have a lot of big ads across the front of the page. So we were looking at ones that were more concise. And in terms of content, people that have a good reputation and are reliable as well.
And some of the tabloids, though, I mean, some of them do extremely good job in terms of their audience, their readership, excuse me.
They do, yeah. But we were looking more at papers of record, papers that have high standards of journalism, and again, the layout, that it's easy to read, concise, etc.
So what kind of contenders, Jordan, were in the reckoning here?
There's several contenders. There was, we looked at the Irish Times, the Irish Examiner, the Independent, and what we found was that stuck out to us is who is always reliable, and who do we go to first for sources.
And who did you come up with?
The winner we chose was the Irish Times.
We're delighted that the Irish Times has won Newspaper of the Year, and it's particularly good to have recognition of our journalistic efforts during the year. It was a dramatic year in news terms, and I think the Irish Times made its mark. But I'm also especially delighted that the younger readers, the readers of the future, have adjudged the Irish Times, both in print and online, to be Newspaper of the Year.
Okay, looking back over the year, there was one event that really stood out, and that was the marriage equality campaign. Folks, you looked at this and you decided that the campaign itself merited an award, Catherine?
Yeah, we feel like this is something that our generation will look back on and think about how well it was covered. They did a very good job using social media and engaging young people in particular. So that's why we thought it had a special award tonight.
And Kevin, was social media the main thrust of their media campaign?
I think a lot of the debate happened on social media. That's where, you know, we saw the power of the hashtag there, yes equality, things like that. And of course, at the very end, we saw home to vote, which was a very emotional one. So the power of social media was quite emotional. But also on the side, we had mass media who was covering it, and we think did also a pretty good job. There was fair, balanced debates. We saw a lot of both sides. So the story was so big and important that we do feel that we got a lot out of both sides of it.
OK, and that award went to the Marriage Equality Campaign.
I'm really delighted that we've been given the award in Yes Equality. I think social media was such an important part of the campaign. It enabled so many people to engage with the campaign and engage with politics in a way that had never happened before. The outcome of all our social media was staggering. There was 1 billion impressions in the final 5 days of the campaign from over 500,000 tweets. And I think it was the positivity of that social media engagement that led to had an instrumental role in leading to such a positive outcome. And we're really delighted with the award.
OK, and now for the big one, the Journalist of the Year. Catherine, I suppose journalism has changed so much, particularly in terms of the way it's delivered. Did that come into your considerations, the different platforms platforms as they're known, the journalists work off now?
Definitely. So we weren't just looking at someone who was very good at print. We were looking at someone who engaged a lot with social media, videos, etc. So we had a couple of good people in the running. So we were thinking of Lara Marlowe, Richard Chambers. So
Richard Chambers of News Talk.
Of News Talk, yeah.
Laura Marlowe's The Irish Times, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing as well that really stood out to us was how good there's a new generation of journalists coming up. So the likes of Gavin Riley today, Richard Chambers News Talk, and also Niall O'Connor from The Independent. There's a lot of young blood still kind of coming into the realm who are doing a really good job right now.
There is, and I keep getting a theme of social media coming through. Has social media really, has it overtaken, from your perspective, that which is known as old media?
Yeah, it is so important to us. It is where we're getting our news. It's instant. It's also, there's such a multimedia aspect to it. So we're getting video, we're getting photos, we're getting live tweets. And to us, it is so important because, as I said, we are always on our phones. We do rely as young people, but as people of all generations at this stage, on social media. So it is something that we took into big consideration when we were deciding this award.
OK, Jordan, and whom does the Oscar go to, as they say?
Well, we chose, it was Harry McGee.
Harry McGee of The Irish Times?
Of The Irish Times, yeah.
Well, Harry is so busy we weren't able to film him to give him the award, but we've managed to sneak him into the studio. So, Caoimhe, if you wouldn't mind doing the honours.
Of course. Well done, Harry McGee.
Thank you very much, Caoimhe.
Co-courageous lad.
Thank you very much. I'm absolutely gobsmacked and thrilled. And it's just wonderful to get an award from a coming generation of journalists. For an old codger like me, it's just wonderful to receive. And I'm thrilled that my general and bland observations have struck such a note with this generation of journalists. I'm really genuinely thrilled and delighted to accept it. And this will have pride of place on my hall or my living room at home. And thank you very much indeed. I'm very, very obliged and appreciative.
Very good. That's up there one of some of the Oscar acceptance speeches.
I actually forgot to thank my agent. Thank you very much to my agent as well.
OK, those are the awards. Now join us for more on the year that was after the break.